CTV News with Maya Johnson.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. Quebec is pushing ahead with plans to roll out its digital health platform later this week. The goal is to make things easier for patients, but there are concerns about privacy and criticism over a perceived lack of consultation. And while the Premier says the move is necessary now, even she admits the launch won't necessarily go smoothly. Matt Grillo has more.
It's called the DSN, short for Dossier Santé Numérique, and starting Saturday, it will launch in 2 regional health authorities in the Mauricie and the north end of Montreal.
Comme citoyen, ça va faciliter votre vie.
In an online video, Premier Christine Fréchette said the digital health platform will facilitate the lives of patients. The DSN will replace paper files, forms, and faxes. The goal is to make health information available in one place. In a statement, Quebec Health Minister Sonia Bélanger said, in practical terms, this means less paperwork, centralized information, faster decision-making, and better coordinated care. It reduces the risk of errors and supports healthcare professionals without ever replacing their judgment. But this new system has faced a lot of criticism. Patients' rights advocate Paul Brunet wants to know if doctors and nurses were consulted.
In any kind of this kind of transformation, numerical or computerized system, you need to have the people who are going to use it being involved in the concept. If they haven't been, we might have more problems than we anticipated.
Patient data protection is also a major concern. Quebec has opted for an American-based provider called Epic Systems, but Dr. Michael Kalin says the West Central CIUS already has a program up and running.
We have a brand new system made in Quebec, privately funded, that is ready to go. So one has to ask, why are we going ahead with a system that's costly, that's probably going to cost at least 2 or 3 times the amount that it is now, when we have a system that was built here and it's ready to go and it's been shown to work?
Despite his questions, Dr. Kalin says a project like this is necessary.
This is the way that we need to go to provide better care. We need our systems to talk to each other. We need to find our information in one place. And the DSN, or whatever you're going to call it, is inevitable.
Right now, the DSN is expected to cost between $1.5 and $3 billion.
Il est hors de question de revivre un deuxième SAG-click.
It is out of the question that Quebec goes through another SAG-click, Fréchette said. The pilot projects start on May 9th, and the Premier is already warning people there could be bugs with this new system, making the start of it more complex. Matt Grillo, CTV News.
We have an update now to a story we brought you on Friday about a Montreal man suing Ferrari Quebec for more than $20 million. Richard Papazian suffered 2nd and 3rd degree burns after a car exploded at the luxury dealership 2 years ago. The Ferrari 360 belonged to Quebec multimillionaire Luc Poirier. Ferrari Quebec has issued a statement to CTV News through a public relations firm. It reads, in part, Ferrari Quebec is deeply saddened by the reported events, and our thoughts are with the seriously injured man and his family. The situation is extremely serious, and we sincerely hope for his recovery. Out of respect for all those involved and due to the ongoing legal process, we will not comment on the circumstances of the event. However, we wish to assure you that we are fully cooperating with the relevant authorities to shed light on the circumstances. There is more on this story on our website, ctvnewsmontreal.ca. A Montreal bar owner says he's being unfairly targeted by Quebec's Alcohol and Gaming Commission. He makes specialty beer that tastes like candy. The province is accusing him of marketing to minors. Matt Gilmore reports.
Martin Guimont has been brewing beer at Le Saint-Boc for 20 years. He says during the pandemic, he started infusing his beer with candy flavors to attract a different kind of clientele, and it's been a big hit.
People like this kind of beer. It's different, but there's a market for people who don't like beer and want to have like a beer taste candy.
It's a trend that other major breweries are hopping on as well. Coors has released a line of slushy-flavored seltzers, and the SAQ is now selling a popsicle vodka soda. That's why Guimont was surprised when Quebec's Alcohol and Gaming Commission accused him of marketing his products to minors.
They've never been sued, but me, yes. I'm brewing beer since 20 years. We will never brew alcohol for children. See, it's 18 and more, that's the law.
The Alcohol Commission did not return our request for an interview, but in an email obtained by CTV News, its lawyers informed Guimond that they believe that the names of the products, their colors, the images on the cans, and in some cases the way the product is presented, for example, adding candies to the glass before serving the beer, are factors that make it likely that the advertisements could encourage a minor to consume these alcoholic beverages. The email refers to a video Le Saint-Bach posted to its Facebook page, illustrating that one of its beers is infused with the popular candy Nerds. Guimond says he rejects the idea that candies are only meant for children.
Nerds is for everybody. And even if I'm doing alcohol, buy your beer in your adult section and bring it to the case and pay, and it will check your ID, and it's for adult.
The ordeal has already cost Guimond $5,000 in legal fees, a bill that he says will likely rise to $50,000 or $60,000.
It's the playoff right now, so it's a rare moment in the year I will be able to do a little bit of money, probably to get some for the winter time, but I won't have some because I will have to give it to my lawyer.
If Guimond is found guilty by the commission of violating Quebec's liquor license law, he could lose his permit to brew. Matt Gilmore, CTV News.
Montreal police are investigating after an incident at a weekend protest sparked shock and outrage amongst Quebec politicians. A group erected a guillotine at the International Workers' Day protest and used it to cut off the head of a papier-mâché model of Quebec Labour Minister Jean Boulet. Alliance Ouvrière describes themselves as the most militant of activists and issued a statement standing by their action. Other unions that took part in the annual march denounced the incident. As part of its major spring cleanup, the city has asked residents to do their part. But it turns out some have not, and as a result, the number of fines issued this year has gone up. Here's Denise Roberts.
Over the past few weeks, cleanup crews, including volunteers and blue-collar workers, have been busy clearing up all the trash and debris that has been left over from winter. City inspectors have also been busy, issuing fines to residents who don't do their part. By law, each resident is responsible to keep the public area adjacent to their property clean, and failing to do so can lead to fines up to $1,000. In the Ville-Marie borough, the city has handed out 42 fines this year alone. That's almost as many as were issued in all of 2025 and a significant upward trend in the last 5 years. In a statement, the city says during the election campaign, we made a firm commitment to tackle cleanliness, and they've changed how they operate to achieve results quickly. And that now the snow has melted, the cleanup can begin. People we spoke to say they want to see something done about the garbage and say fines may be the only way to get through.
It's a mess, to be honest. It's just like especially downtown.
I think it's just sad that you have to give fines for asking people to clean up themselves. I think it should be natural for people to clean themselves.
We can't expect the city to do everything for us. There's nothing wrong with taking out a broom and cleaning out your little corner. There's nothing wrong with that. And to always expect someone else to do it, I think that there's a problem with that.
Because unfortunately, if you don't touch people by their wallet, they don't care. That's all. It's very sad because, you know, like I'm an older man, I'm 74, and, you know, we're used to take care of our neighborhood. And I've just been last year to Japan, and I loved it so much because of that.
Well, Montreal has some work to do to catch up to cities like Tokyo and Singapore when it comes to cleanliness. Ultimately, the city says it wants residents to take responsibility for their own trash and where and how they dispose of it. Denise Roberts, CTV News.
The charity umbrella group Centraide says access to housing in Montreal is better than in other big cities around the world. But according to a study by research group McKinsey, the quality and accessibility of housing in Montreal is getting worse. The report cites rent increases of 1/3 over a 5-year span as the leading reason for the decline. It also highlights the slowdown in construction as a contributing factor. Centraide says Vancouver has twice as much subsidized housing than Greater Montreal, and Boston has 3 times as much. The Canadian Taxpayers Federation is promoting a poll showing a majority of Quebecers want the province to cut taxes on gas. 1,000 people who were surveyed were asked if Quebec should reduce gas taxes after being told the federal government has temporarily suspended its gas taxes. 3/4 of respondents said the taxes should be cut. The lobby group says provincial taxes make up 1/4 of the price of gas.
It's important to remind people that in Quebec, we pay approximately 40 to 45 cents a liter just in provincial taxes. That include the provincial tax of 19.2 cents, the carbon tax. We're still the only ones who pay of approximately 10 cents. We have also the TVQ, or the provincial sales tax, plus also in the area of Montreal, approximately 3 cents for public transit. So overall, that's 40 to 45 cents. So if we just cut them all up or suspend them for the next 6 months, that would definitely drop the gas prices a lot.
Well, since the Iran conflict began, the price of gas has gone up more than 50 cents a litre. It's forcing many Canadians to cancel not just overseas vacations, but also a staple of summer, the road trip. Adrian Gabriel reports.
While some cross-border travel may be taking a back seat this summer, Canadians are also steering their road trip plans in a different direction. This study released by the Tire and Rubber Association of Canada shares that 66% of Canadians say high gas prices are prompting them to cancel or limit their road trips this summer.
Is there any way you can give me a discount? Gas is really expensive. We have to travel 3 hours or 2 hours.
There's also early indicators that the painful price at the pumps may be affecting summer vacation rentals. Peter Guntunis rents out 2 sprawling 8-bedroom lodges 2 hours north of Toronto near Blue Mountain. Each place sleeps up to 20 people. In years past, he had little to no summer vacancy. This year shaping up to be a different story.
Usually we are booked by now, and now the challenge is trying to book up summer, which is the prime time.
Do you believe that the price of gas is changing consumer habits, especially at your rental property?
We still have vacancy, and other cottages up there have this vacancies as well, which is kind of strange. So for sure, it's people are not traveling. It's expensive.
What is your big concern here?
My concern is not being fully booked. We count on being booked the whole year. You know, Blue Mountain, for example, is a 4-season accommodation place. They have events going on all the time, and if we can't fill up those dates, it's not good.
Peter Guntunis tells us if his bookings don't start filling up soon, he could be out tens of thousands of dollars. One other observation he shared is that historically guests would arrive in up to 10 vehicles for his 20-person chalets. They're now coming in about 4 cars as they carpool and try and save money at the gas station. Adrian Gabriel, CTV News, Mississauga, Ontario.
This summer marks the 50th anniversary of the 1976 Olympics in Montreal.
50 years ago, Montreal entered a new stage in the city's history.
Several activities will be held at the sites built for the Summer Games: the rowing basin on Ile Notre Dame, the Claude Robillard Sports Complex, and the Esplanade outside of the Olympic Stadium. Retired Romanian gymnast Nadia Comaneci will be in Montreal for the anniversary. A special gathering of Nadias is planned in honor of the athlete who earned a perfect 10 in her competition.
At that time in '76, everybody was in love with Nadia, so everybody started calling their children Nadia. So we realized that there's many Nadias that has that age now. So we just gave a call to make it fun and to have all those Nadia coming with us and just have a fun time with them. And Nadia Comaneci, the real one, would also be there to celebrate with all of the Nadias that we'll have here in Montreal.
There will also be a retrospective exhibit as part of the anniversary celebrations. The Montreal Canadiens have the day off after a Game 7 win on the road last night. The team is preparing to face the Buffalo Sabres, and they are relying on a rookie. Kelly Gregg reports.
He's the hero of Game 7. 24-year-old Jakub Dobeš held strong during a storm of shots against the Lightning. And in the moment, it's possible no one was more surprised than Dobeš himself.
Still cannot really process everything that's happening. And I'm just inside, I'm really happy, but I think it's going to kick in later.
Through the first round, Dobeš faced 196 shots, gave up 15 goals, and had an impressive save percentage of .923. While down at the other end of the ice, a goalie he looked up to as a kid, Andrei Vasilevsky. But it hasn't been an easy season. Dobesh didn't start the year as the starter, and after a tough loss in November, was left in tears.
Just disappointed in myself. That's pretty much it.
Putting Sunday night's heroics into perspective.
If you had gone and said, okay, the Habs are going to be in the playoffs, they're going to make the second round in 2026, and they're going to ride Jakub Dobesh to get there. Like 3 years ago, people would have said, who's that?
In 2020, Dobesh was selected in the 5th round by the Montreal Canadiens. The Czech goalie hadn't played for the national team in the U18s or juniors and was a relative unknown.
He's never been one of those guys that's been on the radar for anybody, really.
But now his name is among legends. He's one of only 3 Canadiens rookie goaltenders to win a Game 7 on the road, along with Jacques Plante in 1955 and Ken Dryden in 1971.
Dobes was able to hold down the fort for us when we weren't playing that great, so definitely don't win that series without him.
Victor Finlay says while there were some stressful moments, he's particularly impressed with Dobesh's positioning. After spending most of the year rotating through 3 goalies, Dobesh has earned his spot.
Dream big, I guess. I don't know. That's, I always been a dreamer, always wanted these moments.
And the Habs will rely on the rookie headed into round 2. Kelly Gregg, CTV News.
And we'll have more on the Canadiens' playoff run a little later in the newscast. We'll be speaking to Habs Hall of Famer Guy Carbonneau. Coming up, another collision captured on camera. A plane landing in Newark collides with a light pole and a bakery truck. Plus, how authorities are dealing with a deadly outbreak on a Dutch cruise ship. There's been panic at sea after a deadly outbreak of a suspected hantavirus on board a Dutch cruise ship. 3 people are dead and several others have fallen ill. The vessel is now on lockdown, anchored near Cape Town, South Africa. John Venevali-Rao reports.
Deck 4 is where the lobby is.
In a video posted at the start of the voyage, an American travel blogger took his followers on a tour of the cruise ship, now stuck, unable to dock and to unload passengers amid a suspected hantavirus outbreak.
And what's happening right now is very real for all of us here.
In a new, tearful video, the blogger talks about the fears on board after 3 passengers died.
There's a lot of uncertainty, and that's the hardest part.
Among the 149 on the ship are 4 Canadians, currently anchored off the coast of the capital of Cabo Verde, where officials won't allow the cruise ship to dock to, quote, protect public health.
It's one of those diseases that at the moment there's no specific treatment to cure the disease after someone becomes infected, and there isn't also a vaccine available to prevent people from getting infected.
The ship was on a cruise from Argentina and stopping at remote islands in the South Atlantic. 3 weeks ago, a 70-year-old Dutch passenger died, and after leaving the ship, so did his wife. Then a British man evacuated to this hospital in South Africa tested positive for hantavirus. And a 3rd German passenger died on Saturday. 2 crew members still on board also have acute respiratory symptoms and will be removed for medical care. Hantaviruses are rare, mainly transmitted through contact with rodents or their droppings. It's what killed the wife of actor Gene Hackman last year. Symptoms can take weeks to appear, and human-to-human transmission is not common.
So it's very rare for hantaviruses. In fact, the only hantaviruses that are known to cause human-to-human transmission originate from South America, and in particular areas like Argentina.
In a statement, a WHO official stressed the risk to the wider public remains low. There is no need for panic or travel restrictions.
Meanwhile, experts say there are only on average about 4 to 5 cases of hantavirus in Canada each year, typically linked to rodent exposures in rural parts of the western provinces. John Venevali-Rao, CTV News, Toronto.
Another terrifying moment at an American airport. This time, a United Airlines plane hit a truck on a nearby highway while approaching the runway in Newark, New Jersey. And the moment of impact was captured on the truck's dash cam. Rena Roy reports.
Terrifying dash camera video shows a bakery delivery truck driver traveling along the New Jersey Turnpike when suddenly a commercial plane slams right into him. Debris flying everywhere. United Flight 169 packed with more than 230 people on board from Venice, Italy.
Holy oh my goodness.
The aircraft flying close to traffic below at around 2 p.m. Sunday as it came in for landing at Newark Liberty International Airport.
Did you see all that wind? Oh my goodness.
The aircraft also striking a light pole as it made its final approach to the runway.
This aircraft was literally inches from disaster.
The driver inside that truck, identified by his employer as Warren Boardley, who was on his way to deliver products at the airport. He was taken to the hospital where he was treated and released for minor injuries. United says the aircraft landed safely and there were no injuries on board, telling ABC News it will conduct a rigorous flight safety investigation, adding our crew has been removed from service as part of the process. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy speaking to Fox News today about the incident.
And what could have happened is there was gusty winds yesterday, and again, I don't want to speculate, but I guess I will right now with you for a moment. If the plane was too low and he flared up, that tail will come down.
United has been ordered to secure the cockpit voice and flight data recorders as part of the NTSB's investigation, which will examine multiple factors, including flight operations, weather conditions, plus human and air traffic performance. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
The Canadian Prime Minister used his short trip to Armenia to announce that Canada is sending more military aid to Ukraine. Mark Carney is the first non-EU leader ever invited to the European Political Community Summit. Graham Richardson is traveling with him.
I began the meeting.
Prime Minister Mark Carney announced more aid for Ukraine's war with Russia, another $270 million.
You have all of Canada behind you, standing with the people of Ukraine.
Bringing Canada's total contributions to the war to over $25 billion. The munitions for Ukraine will come from the United States, despite pressure because of the Iran war. Carney says the Americans will be able to meet Ukraine's needs.
It's a question of financing and getting them there. We're doing that. We're getting them there. That's the first point. Second, we had made a commitment earlier this year in February, $2.4 billion for Ukraine, Canadian. So this is part of that overall commitment. We're continuing to provide it. It's part of a bigger puzzle in a conflict where Ukraine is gaining some advantage.
Carney is the first non-European leader to be invited here. The European political community was established after Russia invaded Ukraine in 2022.
It's my strong personal view that as the international order will be rebuilt, but it will be rebuilt out of Europe.
Antonio Costa is the president of the European Council. He says Carney's Davos speech, where he called on like-minded countries to band together in uncertain times, is part of the reason Carney was invited here.
Canada is one of the closest countries in the world to Europe. It's the most like-minded country, and we share a same vision of the world.
This is the Spanish national shirt.
Yes, this was a short visit with just under 30 hours on the ground in Armenia. Despite some criticism from opposition, Carney says this kind of direct engagement is critical for Canada.
The importance of alliances with reliable partners, deepening those alliances has become ever more so.
This deeper connection between Canada and Europe will continue. Mark Carney has the G7 coming up in the south of France in June. He was also asked to speak to the European Parliament sometime in the future, which he immediately agreed to. Graham Richardson, CTV News, Yerevan, Armenia.
CTV News has confirmed the Prime Minister will announce Canada's next Governor-General tomorrow. The new appointee will replace Mary Simon. Simon is nearing the end of her 5 years in the role at Rideau Hall. Simon, who is Inuk, made history as the country's first Indigenous Governor-General, but she faced criticism over her lack of French. Her successor is expected to speak both French and English. More tariff relief is coming for Canadians. The federal government has announced a new $1 billion program under the Business Development Bank of Canada to bolster the manufacturing sector. The program is meant to shore up factories hit by U.S. tariffs affecting exports of products containing steel, aluminum, and copper.
The BDC will be offering favorable terms for 3-year loans. The loans will be between $2 million up to $50 million. The first year will be 0 interest rate, and afterwards, year second and third will be very low rates. There will be no repayment for the entire 3 years, only actually interest to be paid on these loans. And at the end of the 3 year, that's when repayment will be asked.
The government also announced an additional $500 million to help small and medium-sized businesses impacted by tariffs. Still to come, the object dying a slow death in a digital world.
We took it out of the mailbox, walked home with it, and threw it right in the recycling bin.
But is there still a place for a good old-fashioned phone book? Plus, why some celebrities are boycotting one of the glitziest galas on the social calendar. And we go back to one of today's top stories. The Habs have done it, beating the Tampa Bay Lightning 2-1 on the road, advancing to the second round of the playoffs. And joining us now is Hockey Hall of Famer, former Habs player, and of course, former coach, Guy Carpino. Good to see you, and thank you for your time today.
Good to be here. Thanks for coming.
So, well, we were hoping, obviously, not to have to go to Game 7, so that 1-0 loss on home ice Friday was pretty painful. But the team, of course, pulled it off in Tampa last night. So, having been paying close attention all along through this series, what impressed you the most?
Well, I mean, once you get into the playoff, anything can happen. But, we always talked through the year that the Montreal Canadiens were one team that can score goals. They were a little bit young maybe, but, I think they have the kind of player that learned really fast. I think Martin, I've said it all along that, I think his team can adjust and change, not style, but, adjust to different things that happen during a game. And we saw it in the playoffs, The thing you want to do in the playoff is finish the series as quick as possible because you want to rest for the second round or third round or final. But, I think for me, having had the chance to go through that, and it made me a better player after. And I think it's going to pay off in the next couple rounds. The experience that these guys gained, every shift, every period, every game, going through Game 7 in the playoffs is something that you don't do every week, so every year, also. So the experience is there, and it's going to pay off in the future.
You talk, of course, about Martin St. Louis, and you talk about the fatigue that the players can be experiencing when they have to go all the way to a Game 7. And, of course, it's really been a roller coaster ride, these tight games, these games going into OT. Yesterday, a really rough second period. So how does the coach keep the team motivated when the pressure is so high and they're getting tired at the end of a series?
Well, I think you kind of learn through the season what kind of player you have, who can play a lot of minutes. Some of the guys, they were able to play when they were young, but at this level, not everybody can play 20, 24, 25 minutes. You can do it once in a while, but constantly it's really hard. You learn your team. That's what the NHL brings and the playoffs brings. The unexpected, you don't want to go to 7 games, but if you don't have a choice, you don't have a choice. And then you have to get ready and turn it really around quickly because, the next series starts and the team that is waiting for you has no pity on you. So, you like I said, the guys practice less than maybe we did in our time. The practice are a little shorter. You have to kind of dose your your training during the regular season. Those guys are in top shapes all year long. So I'm not worried about that. It's just the recuperation. I mean, you have to be careful the days after the games, rest well, take your time, eat well, and then you have to turn the page and get ready for second round.
Well, on that note, what can we expect in the second round as the Habs take on the Buffalo Sabres? What are you looking out for?
Well, Buffalo surprised me this year. Just like the Canadiens, I think they're a young team. That's on the uphill. They finished the season really strong. I think it's going to be an entertaining series. A little bit different, I think, than Tampa was. Maybe a little bit more open. Both teams can score a lot of goals. Like I said, they're young. So they'll get caught at one point that they want to open the score, and a lot of more goals I think will be scored. But, I think defensively they probably maybe have a little edge at forward. I think they're the same goalies. Their Lion, I think, is a young goalie, just like Dobesh. So they're pretty similar. I think it's going to be entertaining.
Yeah, just like the series had been with Tampa as well. Really exciting hockey to watch. We're looking forward to more of it. All right, Guy Carbonneau, thanks again. We appreciate your time today.
Welcome.
And turning now to fashion's biggest night, some celebrities are boycotting tonight's Met Gala. A boycott over a billionaire. Sophie Flay explains.
We're just hours away from the biggest fashion event of the year, the Met Gala. But the night, not without controversy. Posters reading, "Boycott the Bezos Met Gala," appearing near the museum, referring to Amazon founder Jeff Bezos, who's said to have spent millions sponsoring the event. Some celebrities reportedly not attending amid criticism over Amazon's business practices and government contracts, including work with immigration enforcement. Others argue the event feels increasingly tone-deaf at a time of growing economic inequality. Tickets to the gala cost $100,000 and help raise money for the museum's Costume Institute. New York's mayor typically attends, but Mayor Mamdani turning down the invite, saying he appreciates the Met, but his focus is on affordability and making the most expensive city in the United States affordable. Nevertheless, the red carpet will be a who's who of celebrity and style. This year's dress code, fashion is art.
I think it's exciting because it's such a broad theme. It's whatever piece of art or imagery or culture speaks to someone qualifies as being on theme.
The gala is being co-chaired by Beyoncé, Nicole Kidman, and Venus Williams, alongside Vogue's former editor-in-chief, Anna Wintour. She famously helped inspire the character Miranda Priestly, played by Meryl Streep in The Devil Wears Prada.
I hope that's not what you're wearing to the dinner. That's all.
The sequel has already grossed more than $230 million at the global box office during its debut weekend. Sophie Flay, ABC News, New York.
Britney Spears will not spend more time behind bars for an impaired driving charge. The singer was arrested in March and charged with DUI after she was pulled over for speeding and driving erratically. The 44-year-old pleaded guilty to a lesser charge. She was sentenced to 1 day in jail, which she's already served, plus a year of probation. Spears will also have to pay a fine and take a class on impaired driving.
Weather brought to you by Gratian Scaff's 50th anniversary gift event. Get a complete second pair and sunglasses as a gift.
Well, we started the day off with cloudy skies and some rain. We saw around 2.5 millimeters here in Montreal, and it looks like we did also see some sunshine later in the day, and the clouds have returned, and they're going to stick with us overnight. But we are going to also hold on to some of the warmth, and that is because we saw a daytime high above seasonal today, 18 degrees. We would typically be at 16 this time of the year. Now, if we put our futurecast into motion, we do get an idea of the clouds that we are dealing with, and we are on the edge of a system that could bring some spotty showers, but I've checked Environment Canada, and it looks like that system actually will dissipate. So not expecting some rain tonight, but we'll hold on to those clouds into the early morning hours, starting our day off with cloudy skies and a 40% chance of showers. And it looks like around 8 a.m. we are dealing with that system here in Montreal, and we're holding on to that risk of showers into the afternoon. We could see some breaks, and Environment Canada is also saying that there is a risk of some thunderstorms into the afternoon, so something to consider if you're going to be out and about. It's best to play it safe tomorrow afternoon. Into the evening hours, still holding on to a chance of a shower here or there, but for the most part, cloudy skies is what we'll be seeing into the evening and into the early morning hours as we head into Wednesday, where we have a larger system that's going to be bringing us even more rain. So overnight, we are seeing a low of 13 degrees. We typically see 5 periods of some rain tomorrow throughout the afternoon. We do have some winds gusting up to 40 kilometers an hour, and they'll increase up to 70 in the afternoon, and add into that the risk of thunderstorms and around 7 millimeters of rain, but a daytime high of 19 degrees, so it'll be another warm day. Looking at Wednesday, we'll see the temperature dip to 11 with 8 millimeters of rain, and if we fast forward through the week, we're calling for a mix of sun and clouds for the most part. Saturday, we could see some showers, another 30% chance of showers on Mother's Day, but this time next week, 15 degrees with a mix of sun and clouds. And now a lotto reminder for you. Tomorrow, Lotto Max is offering a jackpot of $65 million plus 8 Max Millions plus 65 prizes of $100,000. Buy your ticket in store or online. Good luck.
Still ahead, keeping up the fight against breast cancer.
And we think that we've made a bit of a breakthrough.
The new research and technology helping with early detection. And the fascination with icebergs boosting tourism off the coast of Newfoundland.
Menswear provided by Ernest. Elevate your style with Ernest. Your Health, brought to you by Gratian Scaff's 50th anniversary gift event. Get a complete second pair and sunglasses as a gift.
Early detection is a critical component in the fight against breast cancer. New research and imaging technology could help address long-standing challenges. Alex Karpa on that.
So this is a lab prototype of our microwave imaging system.
A potential breakthrough tool in early breast cancer detection.
So these wires, this would be each one of these wires goes to an ultrasound transducer.
Researcher Joe Lavetri and his team at the University of Manitoba are working on a new kind of dual imaging technology that can tell the difference between different types of tissue.
We're the first ones to couple ultrasonic waves, ultrasound imaging with microwaves, and we think that we've made a bit of a breakthrough in coupling those two to get more information of the tissues inside the breast.
Lavetri says the technology could help doctors get better information faster, with the long-term goal of potential clinical and commercial application.
This would be an ideal technology to monitor during the treatment to see if the treatment is actually working or not.
More testing is needed before anything moves forward, a push being supported by Tomatis, a Winnipeg-based medical imaging company.
We're actually hoping to test this on humans, not in a clinical trial setting, but more of in a test landscape later this year, ideally.
The study, which is subject to regulatory and ethics approvals, determines next steps of where and how the technology could be used.
Providing some sort of option that would work kind of in conjunction with such a thing, maybe as another option potentially in the future, is something that I look forward to.
According to the Canadian Cancer Society, breast cancer is still the most common cancer among Canadian women, with about 1 in 8 expected to be diagnosed in their lifetime.
You can't deny the importance of breast cancer. I think everybody in Canada that you speak to knows of someone who's had breast cancer.
Lavetri hopes this technology will help close critical gaps in early detection, ultimately improving outcomes and giving patients a better chance at timely, life-saving care. Alex Scarpa, CTV News, Winnipeg.
Business News, brought to you by Au Vieux de Loup, where memories and meals come together.
It's an unexpected offer. A company that sells video games is looking to get into a different kind of retail business. Morella Fernandez has details.
Video game retailer GameStop wants to buy eBay.
It made a cash and stock offer of about $55.5 billion US for the e-commerce platform. GameStop has been trying to find new revenue streams since consumers have turned away from brick stores to buy games online. GameStop is a US $11 billion company. eBay is a US $48 billion company. It says it has received the offer and its board will review it. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar is down to 73.46. West Texas Intermediate up over $4 to 106.42. Western Canadian Select is down over $3 to 78.67. And the TSX lost 252 points today. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marilla Fernandez.
Toyota is recalling more than 100,000 vehicles across Canada because of an issue that could lead to a loss of control while driving. The vehicles affected are the Toyota Lexus model number HS250H, manufactured in 2010. Also the Toyota RAV4 models made in the years 2006 to 2011. This is the fourth recall from Toyota this year. This is the time of year when many Canadians are getting their phone book delivered in the mail. Yes, some people are still using old-fashioned phone books to find phone numbers, despite all the developments in a digital world. Paul Hollingsworth has that story.
Corrine McClellan received the latest phone book in the mail.
We took it out of the mailbox, walked home with it, and threw it right in the recycling bin.
Phone books have been discontinued in many Canadian cities. They are still sent out in small numbers. But even so, Mike McJanet hasn't used one in 20 years.
There's different ways of doing things today.
I think probably in another 2 to 3 years, we won't see phone books anymore.
CTV reached out to the Yellow Pages company to ask how much longer phone books in Nova Scotia will be produced. We did not receive a response. Digital anthropologist Giles Croach says people now find phone numbers online.
Any single-use technology that can be replaced by digital technology will get replaced by it.
Croach says the same online technology has changed many aspects of our lives. Even hard copy instruction manuals and other paper products are being phased out by smartphone QR codes.
But you can also use them for a menu if you're at a restaurant. We saw that a lot during the pandemic. And you can use them to do two-factor authentication for safety.
With things like phone books, paper manuals, and paper menus slowly being phased out, what does that mean for people who don't have access to smartphones or the internet? Seniors advocate Bill Van Gorder says close to 30% of Canadian seniors are not online. They use phone books.
The problem for them is their children, the people they want to call, all have cell phones, and the cell phones aren't in the phone book.
Van Gorder wants seniors to adapt to digital technology to maintain their independence and social connections. Paul Hollingsworth, CTV News, Halifax.
Time to check in now with Caroline. And Caroline, a new development in the case of a deadly crash at a Laval daycare.
Yes, tonight we're going to have the latest on the man who ran a school bus into that Laval daycare several years ago, taking the lives of some children and injuring others. He has been declared a high-risk offender, and he is now contesting that label. Also, the Côte-de-Neige NDG Borough is holding its monthly council meeting tonight. We will take a look at that after the parking meter plan that was walked back due to residents' concerns. And good news for fans of the Artemis crew. They're like rock stars now, and they're coming to Montreal. That's all at 11:30 tonight. Maya.
All right. Thank you, Caroline.
Stay with us. We've got another full night of great shows for you right here tonight on CTV.
It's been called the Iceberg capital of the world, and so far this season, the northern coast of Newfoundland has lived up to that name. Gary Barrett takes us there.
The hunt is on to spot a beautiful iceberg along coasts and harbors in Newfoundland and Labrador.
For the first time we are watching iceberg, and we know like those are around 10,000 years old.
They've been big and plentiful so far this spring. Magnificent photos of the frigid structures have caught a lot of attention. Even a typical foggy Newfoundland day couldn't keep the hopeful iceberg spotters away.
I mean, I just like the look of them, and it's
it's cool to see them coming down from the Arctic.
I like that they're white and out in the ocean.
For some, it's all business, like photographer Michael Windsor.
Now we just need one put like the one up in Ferryland a few years ago. Put a big iceberg in a perfect spot, like behind a house.
Some of his most impressive iceberg photos have traveled the world, and so has he, in pursuit of that perfect picture.
Like a spring day with just an iceberg sitting off, and then the sun rises and you get the heat coming off the sun, and the smells and just the sound of the ocean and the birds is just quite amazing.
But the biggest smiles might be on the faces of tourism operators here in this province, because those big icebergs are bringing big business right at the start of tourism season.
We have, you know, a beautiful coastline. We have icons, you know, the whales, etc. But icebergs trump. And, you know, it's good for the industry.
2 sold-out tours on the first 2 days of the season for Iceberg Quest. Captain Barry Rogers has been entertaining visitors to this province for decades.
There's something special about ice. I mean, the world is intrigued with it, and folks come from all over the globe.
His forecast is good. Environment Canada says there's hundreds of bergs off the coast of Newfoundland and plenty of ice along the coast of Labrador that will soon float on by. Garrett Berry, CTV News, St. John's.
Very impressive images of the ice there, Lauren. Here at home, we're going to see some more rain tomorrow.
No icy weather to talk about, thankfully.
Thank God.
Yes, we're beyond that at this point. We will see warmer than seasonal temperatures, and we even see that overnight with a low of 13 degrees. We typically see 5. Tomorrow, we start the day off with a 40% chance of showers, winds gusting up to 40 kilometers an hour, expecting to hit a nice daytime high of 19 degrees, along with 7 millimeters of rain, periods of rain, I should say, and a risk of a thunderstorm. But our longer range forecast, there's sunshine.
All right, thank you very much, Lauren, and thank you all for tuning in. Have a good evening.